But yeah, like, and that's the thing though, is that like, one of the things that I want to do with my YouTube show is I want to like, one of the things that, and people maybe, I'm going to bring it up. I'm sorry to the audience, but, I don't know how this, there's a study done in America, you might have heard me say this, that found that 95% of Americans don't eat enough fiber. Now, I'm sure you can extrapolate that to Canada, right? But the way I read that is, what is fiber? Fiber is vegetables. So 95% of Americans don't eat vegetables, right? So what are they eating if they're not eating vegetables, right? And so now this is a big thing for me because, again, like you look at substances like mushrooms and they're illegal, no medical use whatsoever, yet high fructose corn syrup, everybody. Yeah, like let's put that in everything, right? Like when you look at like the way society is designed, I think food is a big thing. Like for me, when I rethought my entire diet, that's what made me like kind of rethink my entire lifestyle, right? Because it's like, I became a vegetarian. I like quit out like sugar and like, I quit all this stuff because I wanted to like, why am I eating this food? What does this food do for me? How does this affect my body? And the way I like to explain is like our bodies, like we're all worried about religion, right? Like I'm going off here, but just bear with me.
No,
like,
I hear you.
We are God. Like our bodies are made of trillions of life forms. Like you have different like millions of different colonies of bacteria that are working together with our cells and our organs, and it's like, and we're all feeding it poison. Like we're like, when you're consuming sugar every day, that's poison. It's killing your body, right? And when you don't eat fiber, what it does is inside of your intestines, right, it makes it so bacteria dies, right? But you need that bacteria because it kills waste, right? And it kills like these bad products, it eats them, right? So when you don't eat a lot of fiber, what it does is it causes your body to get more poisons, more toxins, because the bacteria isn't there. They're all dead. They died a long time ago, right? And so like they're not able to like, break down these poisons and these things. And I feel like that like when you look at I don't know what it is in Canada. I'm sure it's probably similar, right? Because I know y'all have a fast food culture up there too. But we have 95% of Americans, their bodies are literally addicted to poison. That like it also locks people in these ways of thinking, because I remember when I got into like I read a lot of books, I watched like, and I took a lot, did a lot of things on nutrition and stuff. When I really realized like, and switch my diet, I feel better, right? I feel like I'm able to more like, and it also, when you switch your diet, it gives you that kind of feeling of like, you're actually taking action in your life. Like, I feel like a lot of people's diets are based on what, their parents fed them. Like, for me,
for sure. Yeah.
My diet was like fast food because I was raised by a single mother and she didn't have opportunity to cook. So for me, I didn't know how to cook because my mom never cooked because she would work all the time and just like, get fast food most of the time. So like for me, I had to learn how to cook, right? That's something that also, when you look at studies, most Americans, and I'm sure Canadians are in the same instance, they don't know how to cook. Like, in like the millennial Gen Z range, they don't know how to cook. Like it's just like, that's a problem, right? And so when such basic things, like how do you feed yourself? Like for most people, that's out of reach. Like how do you, like what do you put in your body? Like when capitalists are able to just inject whatever poison they want in your body, it slows your brain. I just covered this thing yesterday that said that like sugars and like simple carbohydrates and fried foods and stuff slow your brain down. It makes it so you cannot remember things as well. Like, and what is life? Life is your memory. Brain fog, right, is when you're not able to write things to memory that well, right? If you can't remember things, you're just going to be like, waking up one moment, then, it's like, 6 years later, what did I do for the last 6 years? I don't remember, right? But like our brains are like constructed by the food that we eat to be like, to be low, like we can't function. Right? Like, and so we're barely able to get from one job to the next, and we don't have any time to think about things, and we're just drones, we're zombies, etc.
This conversation's reminded me that I need to eat a little better. Like, I cut out beef, I cut out chicken. I'm a pescatarian now.
But there we go.
But I gotta say, like, there's like I don't think I can ever cut out seafood because I'm half Portuguese and I grew up on that shit. So like the idea of not eating shrimp again is not possible to me. Because like part of it for me as well is because this world is so depressing. I need things like tasty food that I grew up eating, like the nostalgia of it, even just
Sure.
that purely alone,
And that's a
to be
lot of
able to
people when
survive.
you're raised on like I like just thinking I can exactly recreate the taste of like a McDonald's chicken nugget in my brain because that's what my mom would feed me when I was young.
Yeah.
Just thinking I can recreate that taste. And that creates like, and that's an addiction. Like for the rest of my life, like that giant corporation has constructed like it's like imperialism. They've constructed a military base in my brain, right? That's like trying to like, take over my mind. And that's like that's why and I'm glad that you said that like the conversation makes you want to eat better, cuz that's the kind of thing like I know that, Ronald McDonald's not watching my show, but like I can get like some regular people watching my show, and I want to like try to like create an atmosphere, especially like in left-wing media, that's like yes, we need to attack systems, but we should also do the self-improvement thing, because a lot of people, when you look at 95% of Americans, they don't eat vegetables. They go every day without vegetables. That's going to cause a lot of fucking problems, right?
Yeah.
So there's fertile ground to just help people help themselves. And when you like, if you can, like, I've had a lot of people tell me like I've been eating better and it's made me like more alert. I enjoy life a little bit more. I feel like less physically ill. Like it pays dividends. You're in the hospital less. 88% of Americans have metabolic syndrome, which is basically pre-diabetes. So that metabolic syndrome turns into pre-diabetes, which turns into diabetes, I believe, type 2, right? 88% of Americans are on the cusp. They're on that track. But you can fix metabolic syndrome, typically in 2 months if you just eat well, right? So it's like...
Yeah, it takes maybe like from my experience, it took about 3 weeks for you to get used to it. Like, of course,
Absolutely, yeah.
the first few days of cutting out like certain foods like sugar, like when I cut out soda, for example, you still of course want it for the first few weeks, but after that, it's about 3 weeks. Every time like I've done this with something, once the 3 weeks are up, you're okay with it. Like you've realized you don't need that thing anymore. You can go on, you can eat better, and definitely and actually that was part of the ayahuasca experience as well, just to bring this full circle.
Absolutely.
Before going on that experience, they were told like, or you were told you had to have this certain diet. So you had to cut out basically even spices were cut out. Like I was eating just like rice and vegetables. I think meat was still okay, like chicken was okay, but like there was no spices, there was no sugar. Sugar was cut out completely. So you kind of go into the experience having a very like healthy, pure kind of body going into it. Just
sure, and that helps
like,
metabolize the medicine as well.
I think that was part of the like the intention of that is just kind of rid you of all of these toxins, so you go in there as pure as possible to have this pure experience. And doing that, like just like the diet alone, like yeah, it took a couple weeks for me to get used to it, but I realized I could probably eat this way if I really wanted to. I mean, I still got to bring spices back.
Oh,
but
of course, yeah.
The fact that I was able to do it at all, like I love food. Like I love food. So even the idea that I've cut out like beef, I mean, I could do without beef, but like chicken wings, I still miss chicken wings to this day. I still miss chicken wings, and it's hard to find replacements. Like some places do, good fake vegan or fake chicken.
I mean,
but
yeah,
even that
for
stuff,
sure.
like
Sure.
fake chicken is not that good for you either, so it's not really a great replacement. But knowing that you can like just challenge yourself, I think like this is one thing that I would tell people. If there's say you drink a lot of soda, just try not drinking it for a few weeks, and your life will improve. You will feel better. That sugar will be rid out of you don't have to deal with that shit anymore, and how it impacts your life.
The average can of soda has like
just start one
70
thing at a time.
grams of sugar. Like
Yeah,
that's like
it's insane.
it's incredible. It's insane, right? Like if you were to like measure out and like in your hand 70 grams of sugar, right? It would like be leaking through your fingers, right? Like that's a lot of fucking sugar, right? And some people drink 2, 3, 4 cans of soda a day, right? And a lot of people like are stuck in these habits, especially around their work cycle, right? A lot of people like when you go out to work somewhere. Now I have like, and I assume we're in the same spot on this one. I have a privileged lifestyle where I work from home, right? Like I don't go out and my only option for lunch is like fast food and soda. And like, oh, what's in the break room? A vending machine with soda, right? Like everywhere around you at all times. And it's much harder to quit these things if it's like all these signals are like coming into your like sensory whatever all the time.
Airports too. Like when I was traveling to Peru, like on this diet, you realize how much shit is sold. Like there's no healthy option in an airport. Like it's all just fast food crap. Like
It's garbage. It's pure garbage.
I forget what I like. I think I had to eat like a granola bar or something. And actually, even that would have sugar in it. There was something I had to like buy that was just like the one thing I found that had none of this stuff in it, and it was impossible to find just healthy food in an airport. But yeah, if your environment is so much, if you're in an environment where you don't have those options, or you're again like going back to your experience growing up, where there's no time, where it's just like fast food is the easiest thing. It's right there. It's cheap enough that you can afford it. And yeah, it's hard to get out of those cycles without having the right environment around you and having the ability to eat healthy. Like that, I think is the biggest issue. Is a lot of people just don't have the opportunity to eat as healthy as they should.
And that's why it's like I whenever I try to talk about these things, I try to talk about them like very frequently, right? And my audience gets very upset when I mention 95% every time. It's like, oh, here we go again. But I mean, if you can just cut like bad, like if you can just like say no soda on Mondays and Tuesdays or something, you're still gonna like it's still a challenge. You're still gonna make like progress. You're still gonna feel better, right? But like it really does pay dividends when you break out of those cycles, because then it's also like you're also spending less money on these addictions, right? Because soda doesn't really hydrate you, so it's not like, oh, well, I'm drinking water too. Food is one thing because you need food to live. And I would also argue people should fast more often. I try to fast like maybe once or twice a month. But like, you know, there's a lot of things like you can like save money on, and I'm not trying to be like a Republican bootstrapper. Whenever I make this argument, there's always going to be one jackass that's like, all right, Ted Cruz, fuck you, fuck Ted Cruz. But anyway, like, but you can, like, yes, you can save money. You can make your body healthier. The idea that we need 3 meals a day, we made it up. Who made that up? Cereal companies in the 1950s and 60s. They made it up. You don't need breakfast in the morning before school or whatever. It's all make-believe. You don't need it, right? Like, and so this is something I learned in nutrition, is that like, you know, like intermittent fasting is something that's kind of taken on as well. But it's like also the idea
I do that actually.
Yeah, no, it's good for you.
I've only had water and coffee this morning. That's it.
See, there you go. Me too.
My first meal is usually around like 12:30, 1
Yep,
p.m.
I do it after my show every day. So I'm gonna eat in like an hour here. But yeah, and that's the thing, is like you don't need to eat like why did they try to force people to think that you need 3 meals a day? So that you could fill that meal slot with more fucking garbage, right? Like that. Oh, now we went from 2 meals a day to 3. That means more garbage. And then it's normalized after 2 generations. Oh yeah, we eat breakfast. For what? What the? Like, it's been shown, like, and again, like, a lot of people have these pre-existing conditions from being food addicts, right? But like, you know, where some people like need the sugar in the morning, otherwise their body literally breaks down. And that's the ultimate, like, you're the ultimate product of capitalism at that point. And I'm not trying to be, I really don't want to be offensive when I say that. But like when your body is to the point where you need that external sugar to even live and to have any energy, I mean, that's good for the sugar companies, right? Like it's like having like, it's like being on pills, you know, it's like needing these medications, right?
A lot of this is just like a mental need though. Like if you actually cut it out, I'm sure some people will have like actual withdrawals, but for the most part,
yeah, I was just referring to like diabetics and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, but I don't know. I feel like there are so many things that we can definitely do to help improve our lives just by cutting certain things out. And you know, I definitely have an issue with brain fog. I do eat vegetables, but I probably need to eat more.
Sure.
Like, but also like Alzheimer's runs in my family, so I'm freaking out about, you know, am I going to get Alzheimer's? So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, there's been studies, just to go back into the mushrooms. There's been studies that say that microdosing psilocybin combined with a lion's mane mushroom, which is another kind of like, it's kind of like you know, that helps fight Alzheimer's and dementia. So I'm just saying. Not very many studies on that necessarily, but I'm projecting information. You can do your own research. The information has been projected. It's in the atmosphere. And I claim no ownership. I don't believe in property rights. So that information is not mine. But yeah, and that's the other thing is like I always wonder how many of these diseases are really hereditary. Like, is heart disease, does it really run in the family? Or is it that everyone who's had heart disease in the family got it because they ate, like, nothing but steak every day? You know, like, I always wonder a lot about these things because, again, we're in this area where it's like, you know, medicine is so good. Like nutrition info, we're at this point in society where it's like the information and the studies and the resources and the ability to eat healthy is at an all-time high, right? Like 50 years ago, right? Like 100 years ago, there'd be food scarcity, right? Like you wouldn't be able to drink so much clean water every day, right? But we're at this point right now where like society, we're able to technically, right? Even though there's a lot of restrictions, we're at an all-time high for info. You can look up all of this. It just takes time, right? To like research and all that and to like find things. And a lot of grocery stores aren't as good as a lot of other ones, right? But, you know, like, but we're also in this point where it's like we're like I'm 25, so like I'm like third generation of like fast food addicts. When you factor in that fast food and processed food and frozen food and stuff took hold in the 1960s, right? Like, you know, so it's like my mom didn't really cook that much, as a kid, and so now as a result, I had to teach myself how to cook entirely, that kind of thing, right? And so like a lot of people, like, you know, if their mom or like their dad or their grandma or their grandpa has these diseases that you might think run in the family, it's also maybe because, you know, they had a lot of processed food and fast food, and that just like was a thing that like now we have like very little information about like what my like great grandparents were eating and how their diets were, because diets and health are integral to like your life and your lifespan and how like things develop. Like there's this study that was done, and it could be correlation, but vegetarians have a 40% less likelihood of developing heart disease compared to meat eaters. And it might be because vegetarians are more conscious about everything that they put in their body, so it's not necessarily, but it's like also that's a big number. It's not 4%, it's 40, right? And so I don't know.
There's so many problems where I think nutrition should be like the number one thing that doctors tackle first. And
absolutely.
It tends not to be. It tends to be like look at this pill to fix your problem or fix your symptom, or address your symptom. But yeah,
but it can't be a pill that treats it too well, because then we can't make that much money off of you.
Yeah, or it can't be natural like a mushroom, because then we can't patent it and make a ton of money off it. So
exactly. But anyway, I don't know if you want to wrap up the convo.
Yeah, I gotta go.